Hey world, one of those unexpected lives, but I had to go live. I was up early this morning and came across a story on the wire that made me say, no, I gotta go in the garden. You see the title? Title is first Bill Cosby and now M.L.K. Okay? We all know what happened to Bill Cosby, right? I mean, this guy was a staple in everyone's home back in the 80s, early 90s, as the ideal father, as the ideal husband, as the ideal mentor. You did? And after what, 30 years, you know, something happened, and you know, he was accused of rape, and you know, now he's in prison. And I always thought it was kind of crazy that, you know, certain individuals, you know, you see them in a certain light after so many years of service from an entertainment standpoint, then all of a sudden, you know, bad things happen. Well, I came across this story, and hold up, family. DG, what's up, man? No, R. Kelly, he been got already. No, he's you remember there was 11 new cases against him. Okay, 11 new cases, and so R. Kelly, of course, Bill Cosby, of course, and now M.L.K. Fam, I came across something on the wire that indicated that the National Archives. Look at now, the National Archives. You know, after so many years, you know, they will, like, you know, trash a lot of information to, you know, to bring in more information. Okay. Apparently, this information that they was trashing, you know, included a lot of the tapes and a lot of the, you know, surveillance that the government under J. Edgar Hoover back in the 60s were doing on Martin Luther King Jr., right? And with this surveillance, because remember, they don't have to do it now because they have cell phones. See what I'm talking about? So they already know where you are. So they ain't worrying about you now, but back in the 60s, before they had cell phones and before they could actually monitor everything, what they was doing, they was bugging M.L.K's rooms. And of course, after you know now that Al Sharpton is a rat, then you know Jesse Jackson was a rat, right? So how do you know that, how did J. Edgar Hoover was able to get into all the Martin Luther King Jr. rooms and bug his rooms and all that kind of stuff? Because you know now that, you know, he had people inside that was actually, you know, spies, you know, or working for the government. And it's unfortunate that, you know, now that, you know, and I want to tell you first, before you actually hear it in the news, because, you know, before, you know, it's going to come out, you dig? And so, you know, all of the quote unquote Afro-melanated greats all go down in shame. And it's unfortunate, you know. And so Martin Luther King Jr., they say he was, you know, like, had 40 mistresses. Think about this. How y'all gonna know the number? And the most horrific part of this whole story is that they say they have tape of him actually participating in the sexual assault and rapes of girls, of women. Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. Information that is not always the type of information that you want to hear, okay? Because it's bitter truth. I mean, you think that M.L.K. was going to be immune from, you know, everything else that ever happened to all people that try to do anything positive for melanated people? No, he's not immune to it, right? And so you had like 40 affairs that J. Edgar Hoover said on tape, right? And this is stuff that they're gonna put out there eventually. TMZ, they're gonna put it out there eventually because they're gonna soil his name, right? And then they're gonna implicate him in particular sexual assaults and rapes. It's coming, all right? So do your research, man, and check it out. And it's so unfortunate because M.L.K. was an alpha. No, he was a Freemason. Okay, that's not accident. I mean, he was a Freemason. M.L.K. actually was he was part of the Greek fraternity Alpha Phi Alpha, and he joined that back like in 1952, right? The Greek fraternity. Okay, look out, Marcus. Of course, because see, that's the image, Marcus, that Bill Cosby that they wanted him to have. See, we don't know these people, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, even M.L.K. I mean, think about it. He was an assimilationist leader. He wanted us to integrate with people that hated us. He didn't advocate, black nationalism. You were in the fact that it was an obvious divide and conquer situation back in the 60s. I mean, you can look at it. You have the Nation of Islam. You have Malcolm X. You have Martin Luther King Jr. You know what I mean? There was so much division. You would think that two individuals with so much, actually power. You know what I'm saying? Because, we as individuals, they was back in the 60s looking for a leader. And so now you're talking about Malcolm X and M.L.K. You think back now, why weren't they able to get along? And why weren't they able to kind of bring everybody together? And then for the youngsters, it was the same type of divide back in the 60s, right? Where they used the Nation of Islam and Malcolm X, and then they used M.L.K. to divide us internally as a people. And that's what happened. You did? So it's no accident they don't mind soiling Martin Luther King Jr.'s name now, because he did what he needed to do. He fought for civil rights instead of human rights. Okay? And you got to realize, think about this. Back during that whole era, and that's why, family, you might not, we don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. I don't really agree with that, because so many innocent people who was actually looking for, a better life fell for that civil rights situation. And all it did was kind of really make the situation worse than it was before. Because think about this. Why wasn't during the 1960s and Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, why wasn't they mentioning, or why wasn't they marching to Tulsa, Oklahoma? Because the Tulsa, Oklahoma situation happened in 1921. You dig? And so it's like, it's just too much, it's just too much division within our race. Within our ethnicity, Well, I mean, how can you use him? I would have to say he volunteered for the job, because it's not an accident that you hear about the Martin Luther King Jr. "I Have a Dream" speech all over, but they never talked about that speech that he talked about how that dream became a nightmare, right? And how he was saying how, don't ever let someone take your manhood. See, that was powerful, because he was actually, kind of letting everybody know what time it was. The Martin Luther King Jr. at the beginning of his, civil rights movement was not the same Martin Luther King Jr. at the end. Yeah. And then when he realized, come on, who leads their people into slaughter? You know how these people feel about us at that particular time. Why not advocate, human rights? Like, how the people in Israel get billions of dollars for the things that happened to them in World War II, even to this day. Back then, think about it, we'd have been advocating nationalism and human rights and developing ourselves economically like they did in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Imagine there was a lot more cities like that. But no, integrating with people that hate you at that time. And I'm not saying all white people, but man, there was a lot of people hating back then, right? And so You know, I just want to come out there, family, with that because, you know, I was shocked. I wasn't surprised, but I was shocked. I'm like, man, I was shocked it took him this long to, you know, to defame him and minimize. It was going to happen. And J. Edgar Hoover, he was a homosexual that was cross-dressing homosexual, dressed, you know, that was dressing in dresses, but had all the tapes on M.L.K. because it was all a psyop. Who leads their people into slaughter? And those that are M.L.K., you know, apologists or, you know, fans or followers, you know, no disrespect, but you know, we all have a right to have our own mindset. Okay. Yeah, it was, I mean, D, it was too late. I mean, you know what it's like? It's like Steve Harvey, all these cats that, like, I mean, I only ever heard about Cat Williams. I mean, he lost, somebody stole $56 million from you. Nobody stole $56 million from you, homeboy. You ain't have it. Because once you can't sell no more, they don't want you no more. You got to be a part of that agenda. Okay? And we so for the Stockholm Syndrome, it's sickening. You know? I mean, if you didn't get the chance to watch my last video about, you know, Mexicans being a nationality, not a race, I'm telling you, people fall for the nonsense. I mean, I don't follow fake actors, but I came across another story, which is going to actually piggyback off of this M.L.K. story. Like I told you earlier, M.L.K. was an alpha. He was a Greek. You know, he joined the Alpha Phi Alpha when he was a student at Boston University. So he didn't go to Howard. See, Alphas was established back in 1908. So M.L.K. went to Boston University where he was getting his doctorate and everything. That's when he joined the Alpha Phi Alpha, right? So I've always had a kind of a tripped out perception of fraternities and sororities because I can never understand why we would join something Greek. Now, I was never exposed to that in college because I went to Rice, and Rice University here in Houston is a private institution, you know, it's a private academic school. So, you know, we didn't have fraternities or sororities. You did? But, you know, you have people that graduate from Rice that actually go and join these fraternities or sororities, what they call grad chapter. Okay? But it always amazes me because it's Greek. And we actually are really, because wordplay is something. And you think that, you know, the majority or so-called majority of the layperson or the people that are still asleep are Christians. You know why? Because that is the Bible that was given to you. That is the actual religion that was given to you. But the people that are in power, okay, those people follow the Greek mythologies. They, you know, and they make sure that if you are Greek, you stay Greek oriented. Why do you think that out of all these fraternities and sororities, put a comment out there if you know anything that any one of them have done on a tangible, universal level for Afro-melanated people. Okay? And so with that being said, we know that Freemasonry and the Greek fraternities and sororities, that's where it all started. And I came across a story, and some of you cats might know her name. It's a singer by the name of Keisha Coles. Okay, only reason I know Keisha Coles is because, you know, I played ball here in you know, here in Houston and whatnot, and guy by the name of, what's his name, Booby Gibson, Daniel Gibson. You know, he's a ball player out of H-Town. I know him, and apparently he was married to her. And so, but you know, my wife used to watch that reality show, Keisha Coles, and she have a sister, and her sister has a fashion line. You know, she designed clothes, and she actually had designed this outfit that was pink and green, and had the number 08 on it, and it's on Instagram. And the reason why this is a story to me is the fact that her ignorance was pretty funny. And I'm wondering if it actually was ignorance, because see, a lot of stuff just be psyops. A lot of stuff is anything that get mass appeal, anything that gets on the television or get, you know, viral status. I'm always kind of leery of, right? And so what she actually did was design this shirt with a 08 on it. It's pink and green. That supposedly supposed to be the trademark colors of the sorority, AKA. Now, nephew, DG, all you cats out there, you know, y'all guys know what AKAs are. There's females that join. It's a particular Greek sorority. Well, I thought this was funny because they told her as an organization that she cannot sell that stuff and that she's being disrespectful to the sorority organization by designing an outfit that she's trying to sell that has the pink and green and the 08 on it. To me, that's, if your whole organization is supposed to be built on camaraderie and service and community service, why would you say she can't sell that? So once again, there's division within the nation. Okay? You're not even Greek. How can you say it's trademark when you're not even Greek? So you're gonna trademark pink and green and 08? Wow, we so cognitively dissonant. And the reason why I say we follow so much Greek mythology, think about it for a minute. I'm gonna go through a couple of these terms and everything and tell me if you've heard them before. Okay. Of course, there's Greek influence in the planets. You heard of Uranus, you heard of Pluto, which is Plutus. You heard of the largest bodies of water are called oceans. Where do you think that come from? It comes from the Greek god Oceanus. Okay? He was the Titan god of the waters. You dig? A typhoon. What's a typhoon? We know typhoons that water storm that's in the oceans and the waters that come up, one of the deadliest water storms, right? Well, that's actually one of the deadliest monsters in Greek mythology, a typhoon out of the waters. Okay? Hypnos. Where you heard that from? Hypnotize. What's Hypnos? Hypnos is the Greek god of sleep. You did? Helios. What is Helios? Helios is the god of the sun. And what have you heard Helios from? Heliocentric, the heliocentric model, which advocates the globe and space. You did? Atlas, the Atlas globe, the Atlas. And what is Atlas? Remember, he was a titan in astrology in Greek that actually had the weight of the world on his shoulders. Atlas. Iris. Now we know Iris is in the eye, right? It's a Greek god. Greek goddess, Iris. And I know all you cats have heard about Morpheus. Morpheus from the movie Matrix. Or if you're a little older, you remember we had a music share stream program called Morpheus. You did? And just a couple of more. Apollo. Apollo was the Olympian god, the Greek god of knowledge and light. And what do we use Apollo for? That's the name of the space program. Okay? I'm telling you right now, family, you know, it's hidden in plain sight. I mean, it's chaotic. Uh-oh. Chaos. What is chaos? The Greek god of nothingness. Okay? When the world is at peace, who comes into it to fill in the gaps? Chaos. And what do they always say? They want order through chaos, through organized chaos. The gods they worship. Poseidon. You heard of Poseidon? Okay? And so it's like, once you know, once your third eye's open and you conscious, you understand that, you know, this isn't an accident, that the gods that the United States actually works, those in the know, the ones that run things know. Think about the language. It's not an accident, okay? And so when you're a part of a Greek fraternity or a Greek sorority, then you already know this, because the whole Greek and fraternity and sororities, actually, there's 9 of them, 9 major ones, and they're actually called the Divine Nine. And like I say, ignorance is bliss, because there are a lot of people that join these organizations, you know, they do because they don't know no better. I mean, you know, if you don't have any type of, you know, history, and all it takes is to destroy one generation. And then that next generation, if you give them false information and miseducate them, then it's a wrap. Then anything that you give them is going to be something that they think is right. I mean, back when I was talking about the Mexicans as a nationality, they don't even know that probably 90% of them have Afro-melanation in them, all from Africa, or Alcabellum. You dig? What's the organization that even the council that runs the fraternities and sororities? They call what's called the National Pan-Hellenic Council. The National Pan-Hellenic Council is the organization that's over all the fraternities. Ain't nothing African about that. You did? And so when you see like Keisha Cole's sister, create a clothing line that she's trying to sell, and then you see the sororities from AKA tell her, no, you can't do that because you're being disrespectful. You're not a part of our organization. What is that? You would think they would be encouraging her to sell it because, empowerment. Brown Sense Imaging. Well, talk to me. What fraternity? Okay. And like I say, this isn't a bash. This isn't a fraternity or sorority bash, because I don't bash. I just bring knowledge, bring food for thought. You dig? Because, when a story come out and I hear that, a young lady has a clothing line and she want to sell clothes, and then a particular, sorority says, no, you can't sell it because you're not part of the organization, and they're both Afro-melanated, you would think there would be more union, no more unity than separation. Okay, API, okay. The same fraternity that Martin Luther King Jr. joined back in 1952. Yeah, okay, I can dig it. And like I say, so you quite familiar with the National Pan-Hellenic Council, and that it emphasizes public service and civil rights. And all I actually ask is, because we have a member in the House, what is the objective? You dig? I mean, where is the unity when it comes to, is that like when you're part of a fraternity sorority, is it just an exclusive group? Like, what community services does that entail where as a whole, it's something that you can kind of see tangibly? You did? Like I said, this isn't a bad, but I'm just curious because, I have partners that are fraternity members and whatnot, and they tell me about about a lot of things that they do for all this, the parties and whatnot, but I don't ever hear anything, tangible. I've been teaching 17 years, so, I just thought that was interesting. Yeah, DG, you're going to see a lot of dark-skinned Hispanics, period. Like I say, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Honduras. I mean, all those Central American countries, man, South American countries, man, come on. And what's so thought about it, when you're in power, because remember, a lot of these places, they understand who's in power. And so, and then of course it's education. I don't blame them, because if you don't know, how can you show? And what happens? Everybody that comes to this country, they see the negative stigma types about Afro-melanated people. So of course they fall right into it. You did? That's not an excuse, but that's why we are different from every other person, every other people in the world. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no accident. Okay, that's cool. You fellowship amongst each other. Okay, that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, and that's what I was asking. I mean, is it just inclusive, or is it, you know what I mean? Like what I do is actually want to make sure that those that are listening to me, I can bring something to the table where it's going to be something tangible, as a whole. Like for instance, with this stock market that's crashing, what can I bring is information to you where, my mantra is pay yourself first, because When you pay yourself first, then you can get into the information of investing. You can get into information of building wealth. To me, I think that can help us more as a nation, because you can't talk about a culture without economics. You can't talk about a culture without infrastructure. And the only problem I've ever had with all these organizations is that these are Afro-melanated organizations nationwide. You know, Nation of Islam, fraternities and sororities, okay? Black professional athletes. You know, it's like we have so much, you know, networking when it comes to money, because a lot of people that are sorority members and fraternity members are in great situations. You know what I'm saying? So just think about all that networking. And like say Brown says, all that brotherhood and fellowship, and you know, and then you would think that with all the fraternities, sororities, all the professional Afro-American athletes, the Nation of Islam, okay, the Hebrew Israelites, all right, you know, the Christians, the Black Christians. Think about if all of those particular organizations came together as one nation and we build an infrastructure, instead of in our neighborhoods going to corner stores and stores and not even seeing nobody that either own the stores or work in the stores. You dig? 20 years. Congratulations, brother. Too much division. No doubt, Brown sense, man. Because I mean, let's say I'm never into bashing. I'm never into that crap. I only want to make sure, and it's just food for thought. You know, it's got to think about it. But see, it has to start at ground level. Because we're not going to, you know, what I know is that when you're in a bucket of crabs, you know, everybody ain't going to get to the top because everybody's trying to pull each other down, you know? And, you know, it's not an accident that we as Afro-melanated people stay so disenfranchised all over the world. But then when you look at our wealth and you look at our consumer spending, you know, that's just a lack of knowledge, and that's just, you know, not kind of really understanding the true identity of who we are. Okay? Because we're the only people, before I get out of here, family, we're the only people that have to feel kind of apprehensive or, you know, not say too much about our nationalism as Afro-melanated people. Everyone else can wave their flags and this and that and the third, but if you come up, you know, you pro-black, or you all about us, hey, come on, man, what's up with that? You did? So we have to get out of that. I mean, it's and I say it all the time, it's CD. It's cognitive dissonance. We don't realize it because I think it's really psychological. Okay? Cats, I'm gonna recommend this cat I listen to on YouTube. His name is Black Mad Guru, right? Check him out, because, you know, I always been a doctrine. I always had the doctrine of may the Most High inside bring you joy. And that's what I always believe in. And Black Mad Guru pretty much validated or actually continues to spread that doctrine, because that's who we are. The Most High is inside of us. It's not fallen Greek mythology. It's not fallen Christianity, you know, because, you know, everything that we ever could possibly need is already in us. We know it from a physical standpoint, okay? But from a nationalistic standpoint, and that's not saying be racist or, you know, excluding people. That's not what they're saying. They're saying build our own nation of economics where they come to us to buy. We produce, we manufacture, okay? Just a little food for thought. No doubt. Black Mad Guru, DG. Yeah. Check him out. All right. Wife, and I'm about to get on out of here. I gotta go take my boy playing golf. You know, his swing is coming along. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and post a little video I did of him. We was at the range the other day, and he was swinging pretty good. I let him get 3. I'm gonna record you 3 times, and he hit a couple of good ones. I'm gonna let you guys check it out. But like I say, family, stay positive. Make sure you pay yourself first. It's gonna be pretty crazy out here pretty soon. I mean, if you watch Bloomberg, if you watch If you go download Yahoo Finance, look at CNBC Business, it's going to tell you a lot of stuff that's going on, man. And I'm telling you, things going to crash pretty soon, man. So, all right, family. Being with us to get out of here. In the meantime, between time, DJ M.L.K. Thanks for joining me. I'm out of 5,000. And may the Most High inside of you bring you joy.